Thank you, Speaker. As everyone in this place will know, this week is Homelessness Week. Over the past 5 days, there has been event after event highlighting the dire situation on our streets and calling for urgent intervention to ensure that experiences of homelessness are rare, brief, and non-recurring. But what those with policy expertise and lived experience have been saying all week is nothing new. We already know, and indeed have known for years, that we are in a homelessness crisis. We know that alongside renters being priced out of the overheated rental market and first home buyers being leapfrogged by investors, there are thousands of people right now who are being denied the most basic human right to a safe, accessible, and affordable and secure place to live. Yet it is this lattermost group of people who are often overlooked in conversations about fixing our housing market, seemingly put in the too hard basket, except in the 1 week of the year where we deem homelessness is a concern and talk about it in Homelessness Week. Clearly, this approach is unacceptable. The most recent New South Wales homelessness street count showed that homelessness increased by 26%, or 415 people, between February 2023 and February 2024. In the same period, the number of people sleeping rough in the inner west local government area, part of which is in the electorate of Newtown, rose by 245%. Across the state, people are living in tents, in parks, couch surfing in already overcrowded share houses, and being turned away from temporary accommodation because there is a dire shortage of beds. We know that this crisis is not affecting people equally also. The risk of homelessness is compounded with other forms of structural disadvantage like age, race, disability, and gender. Older women are indeed the fastest growing group of people experiencing homelessness in New South Wales. Last week, the Legislative Assembly inquiry into ending no grounds evictions heard from the Older Women's Network and the Council of the Ageing about how experiences of older women experiencing homelessness are invisible in the mainstream discussions about housing insecurity and homelessness. And I note that in announcing the rental reforms last week, both the Premier and also the Minister for Housing gave shout outs to the young people in New South Wales that would benefit from these rental reforms, which again erases the fact that older women are the largest growing cohort of people experiencing homelessness in this state. Women fleeing domestic violence are sleeping in tents and cars because shelters are chronically underfunded, and more than half of the people seeking asylum in New South Wales are at risk of homelessness. Shamefully, members of the LGBTIQA+ community are twice as likely as the rest of the population to experience homelessness, and people with a disability, those with mobility impairment issues, have been front and centre this week outside of this parliament, putting a call on this government to deliver on silver standard building code commitments. We cannot keep inviting people with lived experience of homelessness in to share their stories of hardship and trauma during Homelessness Week so we can all take photos only to wring our hands and do absolutely nothing as the government to be able to resolve this crisis. We need to radically overhaul a very, very broken temporary accommodation system, which members of this place would know all too well is failing people every day. Last year, we welcomed the announcement by the Housing Minister to abolish the 28-night cap on accessing temporary accommodation, but it doesn't matter if you can get unlimited access to a temporary bed if those beds do not actually exist. Last week, it was revealed that the average waiting time on calls to Link to Home of the government's one-stop shop for crisis and temporary accommodation have increased 5-fold over the last 12 months, and that people facing imminent homelessness have to wait nearly 40 minutes to speak to an operator, only to be told in many cases that no beds are available. In the wake of the New South Wales budget, Homeless New South Wales welcomed the funding for the sector, but noted it was not enough to meet the crisis situation. We know that there are key drivers of homelessness, including structural issues around the cost of living, the broken system of child protection, and domestic and family violence. And the New South Wales Labor government needs to step up and fund the things the sector has been calling for. We need to ensure that low-cost accommodation options like boarding houses are there, and that communities are looked after to be able to ensure that they are getting the housing that they need. I urge the New South Wales Labor government to not demolish the public housing in Waterloo in the middle of homelessness.